Hello again. In this video we will be taking a look at the Meaco DD8L Zambezi. So what differentiates this from any of the other desiccant dehumidifiers on the market? Well, three words spring to mind: thought, effort and function. But before we talk about that, let's take a quick look around it. The first thing you'll notice is the design, which has a much more modern look, and personally I prefer this over the older, more rounded versions. And because it's not overly rounded, you'll probably find you can fit it somewhere in your home and it will blend in quite nicely. Now let's take a look at the control panel, and it's here you'll first notice some personality that Meaco have tried to give it. And the artwork isn't just a gimmick. A small cut from every sale of this dehumidifier goes to charity to help save the elephant. So while you're saving yourself from mould and damp, you can also be saving elephants for your children and grandchildren in the future. The next thing to notice is that the control panel only has 5 buttons. And that for a dehumidifier with this many options is a blessing. And that's all made possible by this LCD display. Not only is it easy and logical, but it offers probably unparalleled control compared to any other model. It's simple to use for the average user, and it allows perfectionists and fiddlers plenty of scope for fine tuning. If I was looking to criticise, and I'm nitpicking now, if you have to wear glasses you may need to put them on whilst changing the settings. Having said that, it does have a memory function, so even if the power's cut, it won't forget your settings. And let's take a look at those now. Holding the power button for 2 seconds will power it up. The very first setting triggered by pressing right on the directional arrows is target humidity, and that can be set anywhere from 40 to 70 degrees relative humidity in 5-degree increments, as well as continuous on. Pressing on again doubles as enter, and it will select your desired setting. Next across is the off timer, and this simply counts down from how many hours you set it to if you require that function. And interestingly, this can also be used as an on timer when the unit is in standby mode. This could be incredibly useful if, for instance, you wanted it to start up while you were fast asleep. Clever stuff. If we move across again, we get to fan speed. Here you have a choice of 3 fan speeds as against the usual 2. We have probably the most used low speed and low power mode, which only uses 350 watts, the high power 660 watt second speed mode, and finally the same high power mode but with an even higher fan speed for serious airflow. Let's listen to those now. Next on the settings panel is the automatic louver control, and again you're spoilt for choice with 5 settings. You have the upwards oscillating angle, a mid angle, a bottom angle, a wide angle sweep, and finally option to lock to any angle of your choice. Along again, and we have laundry mode on and off, and like all the very best desiccants, it has some excellent power saving tactics that detect relative humidity and throttle the power for up to a 50% saving on power consumption. Next is the built-in ionizer, and I have to be honest, I can take or leave an ionizer usually, but the ionizer in this one is the same one found in the Samsung Virus Doctor air purifier, which makes it a very high quality component that is clinically proven to destroy viruses, bacteria, mould, odours and germs. So if air quality is important to you, this again sits it right at the top of the tree. Across the menu once more we have the controls for the daily on-off timer. Now I'm not going to set that now to save time, but what this gives you is total control on when you want the dehumidifier to come on and off. So if you have an economy tariff with your energy company or solar panels, you can program the timer to exploit this if you want to. Not only is that a brilliant idea, but I don't think I've ever seen this before. Lastly, we have the child lock, and this is simply engaged by pressing the left and right arrow buttons for 3 seconds. Switching it off is exactly the same again. Apart from the controls, the display also shows other information. If you just look here, you can see the current room humidity as the dehumidifier samples the air pulled in from the room. Just above it is the temperature of the air also. There's also a bucket full light that will indicate and switch off the unit if you fail to empty it beforehand. Over here you see a picture of a happy Zambezi elephant. Now when the dehumidifier is switched on and collecting water, this will be lit. If for whatever reason the unit is not collecting water or dehumidifying, a sad Zambezi logo will indicate instead, just to let you know. And when the unit is initially turned on or resumes from a power cut, the memory function Zambezi may indicate. Of course, you don't need pictures of elephants to indicate any of this really, but it does show a personality that Meaco have tried to give it. And finally, if you have the unit in standby mode and the humidity raises above 70%, a high humidity warning will show on the display. Before we get to the test part of the video, let's just talk about some of the features worth a mention. As we touched upon earlier, power consumption for this is 350 watts in low power and 660 in high power. And for the vast majority of people, the 350 watt setting is where you will spend the vast majority of your time when any initial problem is under control. But with any dehumidifier, I always say don't worry about the power consumption. Not only will your home feel drier and warmer when in use, but the gentle heat given off by these units will counterbalance the cost of running them as well, contributing to a warm, dry home. As with all the best dehumidifiers these days, it also boasts a humidistat and control logic that not only stops overdrying of the air and therefore wasting energy, but it will also throttle the fan speed and heat depending on which mode you're in for maximum energy savings. And to be fair, there's some other really nice features that I simply don't have time to go through in this video, but if you visit the website, I'll post links to the manual and brochure if you want to take a quick look. Another nice feature is the fan, which will run for a short while after you turn it off. Not only is this a safety feature, but it also cools the heating element inside, increasing the lifespan of your dehumidifier long term. In weight and portability terms, at 7.8 kilos, moving it around if you need to won't be a problem, thanks to the sturdy inbuilt carrying handle. And if we take a look at the front of the unit, you can see that it has a nice large viewing port, so you can see how full the tank is at a glance. If we just turn the dehumidifier around, you'll notice the connection point for a continuous drain function if you require it. And further around to the rear again, you come to the filter. Now the filter is easy to unclip and clean with a vacuum to remove any built up dust and keep everything running smoothly. It's antibacterial in nature for killing all sorts of airborne nasties, but it's not compatible with water cleaning. So to keep this working as it should, stick to vacuuming only. The water tank has a large 3 litre or just over 5 pint capacity, and as you would expect, it's very easy to pull out and put back. And now is an ideal time to mention another nice feature. If we just tilt the dehumidifier back for a moment, you can see a drain flap and screw bung. Now Meaco have decided to make these accessible to you, the end user. One of the most common reasons for complaints with dehumidifiers in later years is the water leaks caused by blockages. Now this usually means shipping the unit back to the manufacturer for them to unblock it and ship it back to you. What Meaco have done here rather simply and cleverly is to make them available and give you simple instructions in the manual. This means if this should happen to you over the years, a 5-minute procedure will save you from faffing around with postage. Again, it's another nice, well thought out, simple innovation. From a moisture extraction point of view, it's rated to a maximum of 8 litres per day, otherwise known as 14 pints, with the tank holding 3 litres at a time. So for most households, this will possibly mean emptying it twice per day, say once in the morning and once in the evening. Now, because this is a desiccant dehumidifier, it will work in a wide range of temperatures from as low as 1 degree C to 37 degrees C. So if you have a cool home or location, this will be no problem at all. Okay, let's move on to the real world tests. And if you want to read about how I test and the environment I'm in, please visit the website link provided or in the description bar below. I'm now going to run 2 simple tests. Test 1 will be a 2-hour run on the standard low power mode. Test 2 will be another 2-hour run on the high speed mode. At the end of each test, any water collected will be measured and the humidity level noted. Right, Let's get started. All the tests will be in continuous on mode without setting a stop point for humidity. The humidity in the lounge now has just reached 69% and the temperature is 20 degrees C. All we have to do now is wait 2 hours. Well, it's the halfway stage now, so let's take a quick peek at the progress so far. The lounge temperature is holding steady at a comfortable 20 degrees C and the humidity is already down to 44%. Let's take this opportunity to measure the wind speed and exhaust temperature. Wind speed, as with nearly all dehumidifiers, is stronger on one side than the other thanks to the fan positioning inside the body, and it ranges from 4 miles per hour on the left hand side up to a brisk 10 miles per hour on the right. And the exhaust temperature is currently a nice 27.5 degrees C, which is a good 7 degrees centigrade warmer than the lounge. If you do need to even up the airflow for laundry for instance, a manual adjustment is provided via louvers in the top of the unit like this. In visual terms, if I hold this tasseled scarf in front of the exhaust for a moment, you can see the effect on airflow. Okay, the full 2 hours is over now, and as you can see the humidity is now down to 39% and the temperature in the lounge has remained quite stable at 20 degrees C, even though it's only 4 degrees centigrade outside and the heating is switched off totally. Right, let's see what we've collected. Okay, so that's 580 millilitres or just over a pint. I have to say that's pretty good for a simple 2 hour run. Let's move on to test number 2, and test 2 will be another 2 hour run on high power on fan speed 2. Humidity is now back up to 68% and the temperature has dropped to 17.5 degrees centigrade thanks to the temperature outside, which is now dropped to just above freezing. Well, it's been an hour now and we're halfway in again. The temperature has risen already by half a degree to 18 C and the humidity is down to 42%. The exhaust temperature is just over 31.5 degrees centigrade, and in speed terms an increase can be seen with the left hand side roughly 5 miles per hour and the right hand maxing out at 12 miles per hour. Again, in visual terms the scarf looks like this. Okay, so the full 2 hours is now up. As you can see, the temperature in the lounge has risen again to 18.5 degrees centigrade and the humidity is very low at 35%. Let's see what we've managed to collect. So that's just under 800 millilitres or on its way to a pint and a half. And to be honest, I think had the lounge been a bit damper, it would have collected more. It simply struggled to find moisture to collect once the relative humidity got below 40%. Well, that brings this video to an end, and if you want to see the last set of results from the top speed test, the price, buy it, or read the manual, visit the website links provided here or in the description bar. Thanks for watching.